All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake up in the day to find it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dreams with open eyes to make it possible. For certain, British explorer and military leader Thomas Edward Lawrence was a dreamer with big plans, specifically that of uniting and preserving the Arab peoples in the face of decades long expansionism and oppression. Lawrence embedded himself with natives from Arabia before, during, and after World War I. But did Lawrence know, for all his hard work and dedication, something was greatly amiss behind the European intentions for the Arabs after the war? Did he know about the hushed conversations behind closed doors that would form the Sykes-Picot Agreement and divide the Arabs even to this day? Did he try to stop further devastation of the Arab people and lands? His own comments and actions show he did in fact know, but tried for years to right the wrongs done to the Arabs. Lawrence was born in Wales in 1888, then graduated Oxford University, where he cultivated a love for exploration, geography, and the Arab people after extensive archaeological work in what's now modern-day Syria and Turkey. At the outset of World War I, Lawrence found himself in a military intelligence role as British liaison to the Arabs. Lawrence would eat, sleep, ride, and work with Arabs for many years during the Arabs' attempted repulsion of the Ottoman Empire in cooperation with the British military. He hoped to realize a permanent and unified homeland for the Arabs. However, this consolidated homeland was not to be realized. While Lawrence was leading, collecting, and motivating tribal groups of Arabs to fight the Ottomans, the British and French were secretly planning the distribution and division of Arab lands that would take place when their victory was complete. This 1916 plan was called the Sykes-Picot Agreement, named after the men seen here who signed it. It was meant to draw boundaries in the lands directly east of the Mediterranean, north of the Arabian Peninsula, through present-day Iraq, into mainly French and British mandates. Some provision was made for Russian control of Turkey and Armenia, while leaving open the ages-old and ever-lingering question of Palestine. Lawrence knew about Sykes-Picot, but believed if he could lead the Arab rebellion forces to victory, particularly taking the Red Sea port of Aqaba and then Damascus, the Arabs would set up their own government with British assistance. His choice for a leader over the emerging nation would be Emir Faisal, son of Sharif of Mecca, King Hussein, who ruled in Arabia. Faisal was not necessarily reluctant to lead, but failed many times to secure the fighting tribal contingents into a cohesive machine effective at thwarting the Ottomans. Lawrence told Faisal about Sykes-Picot when he learned of it, encouraging Faisal to move swiftly toward Arab military victory in light of the European desiderata. Lawrence recorded his conversation with Faisal regarding Sykes-Picot, saying, "I had very early divulged this thing to Faisal and had convinced him it was only to be set aside if the Arabs redoubled their efforts against the Turks. His only escape was to do so much to help the British that after peace they would not be able for very shame to shoot such allies down in fulfillment of a secret treaty. I begged him not, like his father Hussein, to trust our promises, though one could not know if Hussein trusted us out of stupidity or craft, but to trust in his own performance and strength. Faisal, a reasonable and clear-eyed statesman, accepted my point of view as the norm between nations. His conviction of the hollowness of promises and gratitude did not sap his energy. Yet I did not dare to take so frankly into confidence the other men in our movement." These remarks show that Lawrence knew about Sykes-Picot, and that he tried to warn Faisal, who apparently took it in fair stead. Aqaba was taken by the Arabs in July 1917, and then later Damascus, after which battle Faisal was installed as a puppet ruler first in Syria, then Iraq. Lawrence was disturbed the Arabs still did not have their own government or country. He set about with his last attempt to change this during the Paris Peace Conference of 1919. Though Sykes-Picot was upheld after the Paris Peace Conference, Lawrence continued to rally for Arab self-determinism with lukewarm backing of new leader Winston Churchill. Lawrence sought to preserve the Arab Hashemite kingdoms in Syria and the Transjordan, but finally European influence prevailed, forming what is presently Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. Ultimately, Faisal ruled in Syria for a number of years, and then Iraq until 1933, but he could never achieve a unified Arab kingdom stretching from Syria to Saudi Arabia. The far-reaching effects of Sykes-Picot are still felt today. Hundreds of militant, active political groups in the Middle East, like the PLO and Hezbollah, strongly consider the oft-stated aim of ISIL to reverse Sykes-Picot and take back the lands for Arabic people united under completely Arab rule, without any Western influence. Echoes of resistance to imperialism still ring today. Lawrence never realized the fulfillment of his own vision, never living to see the pan-Arab control of the Fertile Crescent, retiring from service in the Royal Air Force under a pseudonym to avoid the fame that accompanied his name after World War I, then dying in a motorcycle accident in 1935. However, in history, T.E. Lawrence stood out as one man against the tide of total presumed European control, believing the Arabs could realize a dream of their own independence.